LEGO has teamed up with some of the biggest names in Hollywood over the years. From Toy Story to even SpongeBob SquarePants, there are so many TV shows and movies that have been brought into the LEGO world, but some are way more popular than others. So today, we'll be diving into some of your favorite TV shows and movies that have made it into the LEGO universe. Let's go. First, let's take a look at Lotso from Toy Story. Now, obviously, Lotso isn't the nicest teddy bear, but I have to say, his minifigure actually looks really good. They got his red magenta color perfect, and they even gave him his little cane, too. This minifigure was part of the Lotso's Dump Truck set, which hasn't been available since 2011. Along with Lotso, you also got Stretch the Octopus and whatever toy Chunk is. This set retailed for $20 back when it was on the shelves, and surprisingly, it actually isn't that expensive these days. You can pick one of these up on the aftermarket for around 40 bucks, or if you love Lotso with all of your heart for whatever reason, there are loads of listings online for him too. Now, I know I said Lotso was pretty cool, but there are way better sets and minifigs later on in this video, so be sure to watch until the end. Up next is a show that people consider to be one of the big three from Cartoon Network. I'm talking about Adventure Time. Now, unfortunately, LEGO never released a lot of sets for one of the greatest cartoons ever, but what we did get was still cool nonetheless. First, we got these two team packs from LEGO Dimensions back in September of 2016. They're super small, but they have some really cool minifigures inside, and you can even build BMO. In the first pack, there's a figure for Finn the human. Then there are pieces for Jake the dog in car form and a war elephant too. In the second pack, you get two minifigs instead of one. This pack has Jake the dog and Lumpy Space Princess, and you can also build BMO and Lumpy Princess's car. These two packs were released back in 2016, but a year later, we got an actual set for the show. I hate to say it, but it wasn't that great. This is the LEGO Adventure Time set from LEGO Ideas, and in my opinion, it could have been way better. Instead of another product made up of characters, I think LEGO should have made a set for the treehouse that Finn and Jake live in. That would have been way cooler. While we're talking about cartoons, let me show you another one that's been made into LEGO. This is the LEGO Simpsons house set from 2014. The Simpsons is one of the longest running shows in TV history, and is super popular among people of all ages. But based on how many LEGO sets were made for this cartoon, you wouldn't expect this to be the case. Besides the house set, only one other set was released for The Simpsons before the theme was retired. I'm talking about the Quickie Mart set, another famous location in the show. Besides these two sets, LEGO only released minifigure packs for The Simpsons, which is still cool, but it's not anywhere near as much as it should have been. LEGO Simpsons was ultimately retired in 2017 due to parents complaining about LEGO resenting a show like that. In their opinion, The Simpsons was too vulgar to be marketing to kids, and instead of fighting it, LEGO just scrapped the entire thing as a whole. Such a shame. Alright, I just showed you guys two TV shows, so let's switch gears and take a look at a movie. This is the DeLorean from Back to the Future. Looks pretty cool, right? Well, this is what it looks like when it's made out of Lego bricks. Now that's what I'm talking about. Now, obviously, Back to the Future isn't just one movie. It's a whole series that's loved by a lot of people. The thing here is that in each movie, the DeLorean was different. The DeLorean set can be built in 3 different ways, accounting for all 3 movies. You can build the original time machine from the first movie, the upgraded one from the second movie, or the Wild West mobile from the third movie. So no matter which one is your favorite, you can build it. I have to say, LEGO, you did a really good job with this set. I think I might have to add it to my collection. Up next is a set for one of the biggest shows in television history. This is the Doctor Who set from LEGO Ideas, and I can't believe that this is actually real. Doctor Who originally started all the way back in 1963 and ended in 1989. Then in 2005, it got brought back and hasn't left since. After 10 years of the show being back in action, LEGO finally made a set for it, and even though it isn't all that big, it's still super sick. With the 625 pieces, you can build the inside of the TARDIS itself, and 2 Daleks. But even better than this are all of the minifigures. The set comes with the 11th Doctor, the 12th Doctor, Clara Oswald, and a Weeping Angel. These minifigs really bring the set together, but be warned, if you buy this set, make sure you never take your eyes off that Weeping Angel. Not even for a second. If anybody watching likes dinosaurs, you're gonna love this next segment. This LEGO theme has gotten really big over the years, but to me it still feels like it's pretty underrated. This is LEGO Jurassic World. There are a ton of sets I can talk about for this theme, but if I had to pick one, I think it'd have to be Blue's Helicopter Pursuit. This was one of the coolest scenes from the Jurassic World movies, so it was awesome to see that LEGO remade it out of bricks. The set was released in 2018, and unfortunately hasn't been back on the shelves since 2020, but don't worry, there there are loads of other Jurassic World sets available on the LEGO website and in stores too. The sets for this next show though are long gone. This is the LEGO Avatar: The Last Airbender theme, one of the most tragic themes in all of LEGO. The reason I'm saying it's tragic is because only 2 sets were ever released under this theme. And this is Avatar: The Last Airbender we're talking about, one of the best shows of all time. The 2 sets were released for this theme on the exact same day, the Air Temple set and the Fire Nation ship set. They were released on June 1st, 2006, and since then, not only has their aftermarket price gone through the roof, but their availability is scarce. If you think this is tragic though, just wait, because there's more to the story. Remember how both of the Avatar sets were released in the same day? Well, 3 other sets were also released with them, but they had nothing to do with Avatar: The Last Airbender. The 3 sets I'm talking about are the Adventures in Bikini Bottom set, the Krusty Krab set, and the Build-A-Bob set. That's right, all 5 of these sets were released at the exact same time. This was done to announce to the world that LEGO and Nickelodeon had officially partnered up and were going to make everyone's favorite kids shows into LEGO. As we know today, this isn't exactly how it went down. Hardly any other sets were released for SpongeBob, and as I said before, Avatar: The Last Airbender never even got another set. See, I wasn't lying when I said this story was tragic. Up next is something that seems really obvious at first, but trust me, just keep watching. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you've heard of LEGO Star Wars at some point. It's one of the biggest themes in all of LEGO and has been for a really long time. Now, obviously, I could just say that LEGO Star Wars is based on the movie franchise, but that would be really boring. So instead, I'm going to show you one of the craziest custom-made LEGO Star Wars battles ever. This is a motorized droid factory battle made by Doug Davis, and it's absolutely massive. According to Davis, this build has 140 base plates, 2,000 minifigures, and an 8-foot tall mountain in the back that's fully mechanized on the inside. This mechanized mountain is where the droid factory is, and it looks and moves just like how it does in the actual Star Wars movies. This isn't the only custom-made build for a popular movie franchise, though. This is an insanely huge LEGO Hogwarts and Village build made by Daniel Konstanski. Not only does this build feature the giant Hogwarts castle itself, but it even has the grounds around the castle too. There's the water that leads up to the castle, the Quidditch field in the back, and the village right outside of Hogwarts. It's all there, but when this many bricks are being used, the minifigures have to match. This build has a whopping 300 minifigs scattered throughout the entire area. Now, obviously, that isn't nearly as many as the droid factory battle, but 300 is still a brick ton. These 2 custom builds are by far some of the coolest things I've seen in LEGO, and the fact that they were both built by fans makes it that much cooler. Speaking of cool, this next set is based on one of the coolest cars ever. This is James Bond's Aston Martin. And not only is it packed full of Easter eggs, but the car itself looks super sick all on its own. For starters, the license plates on the front and back of the car can both be turned around, revealing different license plate numbers. Then on the driver's side door, there's a little compartment you can pull down to reveal a secret phone. Then if you take a look inside the car, you'll see this giant joystick in between the 2 seats. When you move this thing back and forth, it actually reveals hidden machine guns in the front of the car, which is a sick detail. But that isn't all the inside of the car has to offer. There's also a gearbox that can be turned to reveal the secret tracking screen on the console of the car. But all of these Easter eggs have nothing on this next one. This LEGO set has a real ejector seat. That's right. If you pull on the middle of the rear bumper, the sunroof will open and both car seats will go flying out of the top of the car. So not only can you build one of the sickest cars in movie history, but it functions just like how it does in the movies. Hats off to you, LEGO. You guys nailed it with this one. Up next is a set that's technically a knockoff, but it's so popular that I just had to put it in this video. The set I'm talking about is the RV from Breaking Bad, but there's just one problem here. This set has gotten so popular in the last year that a bunch of different LEGO knockoff companies have been making their own version. If you search Breaking Bad LEGO on Amazon, you'll find tons of iterations of the exact same set, so there's no way to know which one is the original. If you were hoping that LEGO would make this set themselves, I'm gonna have to burst your bubble here. Breaking Bad has way too many adult themes for LEGO to promote it to kids. The Simpsons is hardly adult themed, and since those sets got retired, there's no way LEGO would ever make an official set for Breaking Bad. There is one show though that made the cut. This is the office building set from the show The Office. This is another one of those shows that's insanely popular, but still surprising to see a LEGO set for. The set has 1,164 pieces to its name, and comes with 15 minifigs, all of which are different different characters from the cast of the show. Funnily enough, this set was brought to LEGO's attention by a fan. It actually came from LEGO Ideas, so if it wasn't for this die-hard Office fan, I doubt this set ever would have come to life. In my opinion, this set toes the line for what should or shouldn't be promoted to kids, and so does this set for the next show. This is the Friends apartment set, based on the show Friends. Friends is one of those shows that isn't exactly vulgar, but still feels weird to put on in front of kids. Regardless, the set was made back in 2021. It comes with 2,048 pieces, but the setup is way different from the Office set. The Friends apartment set was made to look like the actual set of the show where they recorded, including the lighting. If you look at the sides of every room, you'll see scaffolding with a light on top, just like how they do it in Hollywood. This is a super subtle but awesome detail that I wouldn't expect to see out of LEGO back in 2021. Anyways, let's move on from TV shows for a minute and get back to the movies. This next one was a surprise, even for me, so I'm sure it'll be a surprise for you too. This is the E.T. Fun Pack from LEGO Dimensions, and even though it's super small, it's still cool to see that LEGO made something for this movie. E.T. is a classic from 1982 that's loved by just about everyone who watches it, so the fact that you can scoop up a minifig of him is awesome. This isn't the only classic movie that made it into LEGO though. Up next is an item for the Goonies from 1985. It's another pack, so it's definitely a little underwhelming, but if nothing else, the minifigure that comes with it is pretty cool. I mean, if you don't like Sloth by the end of the movie, then we got a problem. Along with Sloth, there are also pieces for you to build a pirate ship, and a throne with a skeleton on it. Now, obviously this pack doesn't have much to it, but there's a submission in the LEGO Ideas forum right now that would be incredible if it actually got produced. On one side, we have the giant pirate ship, and on the other, we have different scenes from throughout the entire movie. And of course, we have a ton of minifigs. I think it's safe to say that this set would be amazing if it was made today. Make it happen, LEGO. Up next is a reboot of one of the most popular shows from Cartoon Network. The original Teen Titans was also on Cartoon Network, but it was made all the way back in 2003. The new one, Teen Titans Go, started in 2013 and was a little more kid-friendly than the original. Because of this, LEGO decided to make some packs for it. The first one was the Team Pack, which included Beast Boy, Raven, the T-Car, and the Spellbook of Azarath. The second one was much smaller and only included Starfire and the Titan robot. Now, I know this is kind of disappointing, but hey, at least we got a couple of minifigs, right? Up next is a LEGO theme that's pretty big, but has slowed down a lot over the years. I'm talking about LEGO Indiana Jones. In the early 2000s, LEGO Indiana Jones was on par with LEGO Star Wars, and since both of these franchises were made by the same company, I can kind of see why. The difference between these two, though, is that Indiana Jones went quiet for a very long time, so LEGO didn't have anything new to make, whereas Star Wars hardly stopped since their partnership with LEGO. A new Indiana Jones movie was released not too long ago though, so LEGO finally had some new content to make sets for. There are only 3 of them, but they look great and are super nostalgic for people who have been missing LEGO Indiana Jones. Up next is one of the biggest movie franchises from the 1980s, so you know LEGO had to make some sets for it. I'm talking about Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters was absolutely massive back in the day, but in the early 2010s, it got rebooted for old time's sake. LEGO saw this as an opportunity to make a new partnership and launched the LEGO Ghostbusters theme. Now, there are a bunch of sets under this theme, but one of the coolest ones by far is the Ghostbusters Ecto Car. There aren't any minifigures included with this one, but the attention to detail is so good. Another famous set from this theme is the Ghostbusters HQ set. This one has way more pieces, coming in at 4,634, and has a total of 9 minifigs. It's a decently big set that's packed full of references, details, and a bunch of other stuff. When it comes to the quality of sets, LEGO Ghostbusters is definitely in the top 10. I mean, these sets are just incredible. Up next is a TV show that's a perfect fit for LEGO. This is the Mojo Jojo Strikers set from LEGO Powerpuff Girls. Now, before you start rolling your eyes, just think about it for a second. Powerpuff Girls is a show that literally everyone has heard of, so the fact that there's a LEGO set for it is pretty insane. You know what's even crazier than that though? The fact that there are 2 sets. The second one is called the Bubbles Playground Showdown set, and I can't say it's exactly cool, but it definitely doesn't look bad. Needless to say, the Powerpuff Girls is a super famous show, and it's awesome to see that it made it to LEGO. Up next are some sets that are unfortunately just concepts, but I have a strong feeling that they'll get put on the shelves someday soon. This is the Phineas and Ferb set from LEGO Ideas, and I know for a fact that a ton of people want this show to be made into a LEGO set. This isn't the only Phineas and Ferb set in LEGO Ideas though. There's also a set for Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated, which would be way cooler to have in my opinion. The only problem I see with both of these sets though are the minifigures. The first set doesn't even have any minifigures. The second one does, but they honestly just look weird. This is a problem that can easily be fixed by LEGO though. So hopefully someday soon they'll take these sets and make them a reality. Up next is a pack for another classic movie. I don't know who was clearing all of these tiny packs, but it seems like they really like movies from the 1980s. This is the Gremlins Team Pack from LEGO Dimensions. It comes with 94 pieces and 2 minifigures, both of which show how good and how bad Gremlins can be. Besides these guys, there's also a tiny car and some form of clawmobile. This pack came out in 2016 and was retired in 2017, so it wasn't around for very long. But if you're a fan of the Gremlins, I hope you were paying attention when this pack was around, because I doubt it'll be back anytime soon. Up next are some sets for a Harry Potter spin-off. This is the Newt's Case of Magical Creatures set, and it's based on the movies Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. If you haven't heard of this movie series, it's a prequel to Harry Potter. The Case of Magical Creatures set has 694 pieces to its name, and even though LEGO bricks can't be magic, LEGO still did a pretty good job making this set. There's only one other set for this movie series, and it's called the Complete Movie. I'm not exactly sure why it was given this name, but regardless, the set still looks pretty cool. It comes with 261 pieces and a minifigure of the main character, Newt. Now, even though LEGO barely released anything for these movies, it's nice to see them carrying on the legacy of LEGO Harry Potter. I mean, come on. We all know how popular that LEGO theme is. Last but not least on my list is a theme that was technically a video game before it was a TV show. This is the LEGO Sonic the Hedgehog theme, and the sets for it are actually super sick. The theme hasn't been around for very long, but the fact that it even exists is pretty insane. We all know about the rivalry between Mario and Sonic, so the fact that LEGO is able to sell stuff from both franchises is pretty crazy. I think it's safe to say when it comes to TV and movies, nobody brings people together like LEGO. Home Alone is an absolute classic that everybody loves, but I was surprised to find out that LEGO had actually made a set for it. This is the Home Alone set from LEGO Ideas, and coming in at almost 4,000 pieces, this set is a moviegoer's dream. The set, of course, has the giant house where most of the movie took place, but I'll come back to that later. We also have the plumbing truck that the robbers rode around in and 5 minifigures. There's Kevin, the robbers Harry and Marv, Kevin's mom, Kate, and old man Marvy. Now, I know these minifigures are awesome, but they're nowhere near the coolest part about this set. The coolest part is that inside the house, you can recreate so many iconic scenes from the movie. Like when Marv gets smacked in the face with an iron, or when Harry gets his head torched. They even recreated the scene where Kevin uses aftershave and immediately regrets the decision. There are also tons of little details hidden throughout the set, like the ice on the stairs in the front of the house. I mean, seriously, I could go on all day about how cool this set is. But of course, there are way more TV shows and movies to cover in this video, so be sure to watch until the end. Up next is an entire theme that many people don't even know exists. This is the LEGO Avatar theme, but not the Last Airbender like I talked about last time. I'm talking about the blue people. LEGO Avatar was announced at Comic-Con back in July of 2022. They said that they'd be releasing sets for the newest Avatar movie, The Way of the Water, in October of that year. So, lo and behold, in October of 2022, LEGO released the Tree of Souls set, the Floating Mountain Site set, the first Banshee Fight set, and the Thanator vs. Amp Suit set. After this, LEGO released 5 more sets for Avatar in 2023, all of which came from the newest Avatar movie. Considering how big the first Avatar movie was back in 2009, this is a pretty insane collab. But I guess since The Way of the Water wasn't so popular, I can't be surprised that these LEGO sets didn't do very well. Better luck next time, I guess. Up next is a theme that just got started, but dates back all the way to 2010. This is the LEGO Despicable Me theme, and with the release of the 4th movie this summer, this theme is gonna be huge. I mean, come on, everybody loves the Minions. So far, only 4 sets have been made for the theme, but they all look pretty good. First, there's the big Minion Mansion, then there's the Minions and their banana car, then there's the Minions Party Bus, and lastly, there's the brick-built Gru and Minions set. I have a funny feeling that over time, this could be one of the biggest themes in LEGO history. The only problem I have with it though is that there aren't any true Minion minifigures. Almost all of them have heads that attach like traditional bricks, which is still cool, but I think I can speak for all of us when I say we want some actual Minion minifigures. The set for this next show though got their minifigures perfect. This is the LEGO Mystery Machine from Scooby-Doo, and even though it only has 300 pieces, this set is still sick. Obviously, this set features one of the most iconic cars in TV history, but that isn't all this set has to offer. Even though the whole gang isn't here, the the minifigures are still awesome. We got Fred, Shaggy, Scooby, and a zombie, who, let's be honest, probably isn't a real zombie. Unfortunately, other than this set, there's barely any other LEGO Scooby-Doo for me to show, so let's go ahead and move on. Up next is a set from LEGO Ideas that's set to be released any day now. This is the LEGO Bluey set, and believe it or not, this set reached the goal of 10,000 supporters in the LEGO Ideas forum. In case you didn't know, any set that gets posted in LEGO Ideas has the chance to be made by LEGO, but it'll only get made if it reaches 10,000 supporters. Some sets that achieve this goal are the Polaroid camera and the London telephone box, but that isn't what we're here for. Let's talk about Bluey. The soon-to-be set features a ton of characters, from Bluey himself to even Pedley the car. So many names are part of this set. But then, of course, we have the house, because, come on, what would Bluey be without his awesome house? This is a LEGO set that's gonna go absolutely crazy when it drops. I'm actually pretty excited to see how it's gonna do. Since I just talked about one of the most popular kids shows of today, let me show you some LEGO from one of the most popular kids shows of all time. I'm talking about Mickey Mouse. These are just a few sets that Mickey Mouse is a part of, and in all honesty, they're super cool. One of my personal favorites is the Mickey and Minnie rocket ship set from 2021. Not only do we get some awesome minifigures, but they're wearing spacesuits too. Mickey Mouse is by far one of the most famous names in entertainment history, so this really is an insane collab for LEGO. Let's move on from that though, so I can show you a set from one of the most popular Disney movies of the last 10 years. This is the LEGO Inside Out set from the Brickheads theme. Inside Out was released all the way back in 2015, but people absolutely loved it. Even though it took a while, Inside Out 2 was finally released just last month in June of 2024, so LEGO finally decided to make a set for it. Now, in my opinion, Brickheads is kind of mid, so I'd love to see LEGO make an actual set for this movie, with minifigures and everything else. Do you think that's a good idea? Let me know down in the comments. Anyways, up next is a brand new LEGO theme for a show that's been around since 2004. This is the LEGO Duplo Peppa Pig theme, and to be honest, I'm surprised this theme took as long as it did to become a thing. Peppa Pig has been super famous even since its release back in 2004, so it really is crazy that it took LEGO 20 years to make some sets for the show. The theme only started this year, and so far there are only 4 sets for it, but I'm sure as time goes on, there will be way more sets for this theme. I mean, come on, this is Pegga Pig we're talking about here. Up next is a set for hands down one of the best Pixar movies ever made. This is the literal house from Up, made with LEGO bricks. The fact that this set is even real is unbelievable to me, in the best way possible though. It only has 598 pieces, but that doesn't mean it isn't amazing. Not only is the house itself super accurate to the movie, but the balloons really just bring it all together. But of course, we can't forget the minifigures. There's Grandpa Fredricksen, Scout, Doug, and there's even the squirrel that followed Doug around for the whole movie. This set may be tiny, but it really does have it all. Great job, LEGO. Up next is a theme for one of the biggest movies of the early 2000s. This is the LEGO Cars theme, and even though the sets that are made for it these days are a little underwhelming, the older ones were sick. LEGO didn't officially collab with Cars until Cars 2 released in 2011. But since then, over 20 sets have been released for the franchise, and most of them are pretty old. In fact, the only new sets we have now are the Lightning McQueen and Mater's Car Wash set and the Mac at the Race set. And let's be honest here, these don't even compare to what we used to get. Regardless though, the theme itself is still awesome to see, and I'm super happy that LEGO made some sets for such a good movie. Up next is a set based on the man who never wanted to grow up. Peter Pan. This is the Peter Pan and Wendy's Flight Over London set, and coming in at just over 450 pieces, this set is the perfect way to relive one of the best scenes in movie history. LEGO really couldn't have picked a better scene to recreate for his first official set. I don't think anybody who's seen Peter Pan could possibly forget about it. However, this isn't the only classic movie with its own LEGO set. This is the LEGO Dimensions Wicked Witch Pack, and even though it's super tiny, the fact that this even exists is pretty crazy. The Wizard of Oz is one of the most famous movies ever. I mean, literally everybody has seen it. In my opinion though, this little pack doesn't do it justice. But luckily, I wasn't alone in thinking that. A Wizard of Oz set in the LEGO Ideas forum just recently got 10,000 supporters. So if it passes the review, then LEGO will officially release a real set from the movie. I have to say, this would be absolutely crazy. I mean, the designer somehow even worked a tornado into this set. That takes some dedication. Up next is a set for a movie franchise that had some of the best CGI in the early 2000s. This is the LEGO Optimus Prime set from the Icon series. And yeah, I'd say Optimus Prime is pretty iconic. The set comes with just over 1,500 pieces, so the build isn't too difficult, but it also isn't too easy. The best part about this set though isn't the fact that it's Optimus Prime. It's the fact that it can transform, just like Prime does in the movies. You can take him from his giant semi-truck form to his battle-ready robot form anytime you want. Oh, I almost forgot. LEGO made a set for Bumblebee too. I have to say though, I am a little disappointed that he wasn't a Camaro like he was back in the day. But I guess you can't win them all. Up next is an item that I'm surprised LEGO even made. This is the Mission Impossible level pack from LEGO Dimensions. And the reason I'm surprised this thing exists is because Mission Impossible is definitely not the most kid-friendly movie series. LEGO has a history of not supporting anything that involves adult themes. For example, they completely stopped the production of their Simpsons sets because certain people thought that the show was too vulgar to be promoted to kids. But I guess since they didn't make LEGO Mission Impossible an entire theme, they let it fly under the radar. Regardless though, it's still pretty cool to see Ethan and his motorcycle made out of bricks. Up next is another Disney classic that just recently got a few sets. These are the Simba sets, based on the Lion King. And there are two versions you can pick from. You can either build Simba as a little lion cub or as a young child when he started exploring the world. Both of these sets were released just this year, and considering all of the other LEGO Disney sets that were released in 2024, there was definitely some big deal signed pretty recently. Up next is a LEGO theme based on one of the most famous movie trilogies ever. This is the LEGO Lord of the Rings theme, and even though this theme is really famous, there's no way I could have left it out of this video. Lord of the Rings is a 3-movie trilogy that originally started all the way back in 2001, and even though only one movie released that year, the series was instantly famous. The first Lord of the Rings LEGO set was released back in 2012, almost 10 years after the third movie released in 2003. The set they decided to release first was the Battle of the Helm's Deep set, and after this, LEGO just kept going. They released a total of 12 sets from 2012 to 2013, and they also released a video game in 2012. Since the initial rollout in 2012 and 2013, LEGO hasn't released many sets for Lord of the Rings, but their hiatus officially ended this year when they released the Barad-dûr set in the LEGO Icon series. The Barad-dûr is also known as the Dark Tower and is one of the most well-known locations in the entire Lord of the Rings franchise. This was a super bold move from LEGO, considering how long it's been since they've done anything for Lord of the Rings. But if anything's gonna relight the fire they had in 2012, it's the Dark Tower. I wish you luck, LEGO. Last but certainly not least on my list, I want to talk about a LEGO theme based on one of the most famous superheroes in history, Spider-Man. The first LEGO Spider-Man set was released all the way back in 2004, but since then, they've made way more. First of all, they released one of the most popular LEGO sets in recent years, the Daily Bugle. This set alone speaks volumes for just how big LEGO Spider-Man has gotten over the years, but it isn't all LEGO has to offer. There's also this absolutely crazy set called the Spider-Man Final Battle set, based on the big fight scene from Spider-Man No Way Home. Once again, LEGO hit the nail right on the head with this set. The only thing you could argue is that it's lacking some pieces, which I can understand. This set would be a lot cooler if it was really big, but regardless, it's still sick. The Nightmare Before Christmas. We've all heard of this movie, so I don't think I need to explain how cool this is. It just released earlier this year, having hit the shelves in September, and unsurprisingly, it was an instant hit. It comes with 6 minifigures that can't be mistaken for anyone else, and it even comes with Zero the dog and the mayor too. If you wanted to pick this set up for yourself, unfortunately you'd have to cough up $200, but to some people, it might be worth it. The Nightmare Before Christmas fanbase is absolutely massive, so I can definitely see a lot of people collecting this set as time goes on. Up next, I want to talk about a LEGO theme that goes under the radar of a lot of people these days, Stranger Things. Now, even though the show started back in 2016, LEGO didn't get to collab with them until 2019, a whole 3 years after the first season dropped on Netflix. The first set they released for the theme was the Upside Down House, a super cool take on one of the main characters' houses, Will Byers, who got trapped in the Upside Down in Season 1. This set was released in May of 2019, and by this time, Season 2 had already aired and Season 3 was coming out in just a few months. The set still got a lot of love, but in my opinion, this was a huge miss by LEGO. Season 3 of Stranger Things is considered to be one of the best seasons in the entire show, so if LEGO had just waited, they could have released some seriously cool sets for the 3rd season, and they would have been at their best time too. Unfortunately though, not only did LEGO miss their opportunity, but they hardly released anything else for the Stranger Things theme in general, with most of the other releases being brickheads, sketchbooks, and minifigures. The Stranger Things fanbase is even bigger than the Nightmare Before Christmas fanbase, so this was definitely a big missed opportunity for LEGO. By the way, if you guys are enjoying this video, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I post LEGO videos just like this one every single week. Anyways, let's get back to the video. Up next is a theme everybody knows, LEGO Marvel. This is by far one of the biggest themes in all of LEGO history, right next to LEGO Star Wars and LEGO Harry Potter. The first set under this theme was released all the way back in 2012 and was made for the first Avengers movie that came out that year. Since then, LEGO's released a grand total of 316 different products under the LEGO Marvel theme, and they stretch across all sorts of Marvel universes. There's Spider-Man, the X-Men, Guardians of the Galaxy, and way more. I mean, there are 44 different sub-themes under LEGO Marvel, all of which are based on different heroes, movies, and events in the Marvel franchise. This is obviously by far one of the biggest and most loved LEGO themes based on movies and TV, and the only other one that comes close in terms of sheer size is LEGO DC Comics. LEGO's made a total of 173 products for the DC Comics theme, which is just a little over half of what they've done for Marvel. The first thing they released for this theme wasn't actually a set. They released 3 different minifigures, both at the San Diego and the New York Comic-Con in 2011. Besides Superman, for some reason he was only given away at the New York one. After this, the first set they released was the Batmobile and Two-Face Chase set in 2012. Since then, a ton of iconic sets have been released under this theme, like the Batmobile Tumbler and the Batcave Shadow Box. The most recent set they've released has also been pretty popular though. The set I'm talking about is the animated series Gotham City set, which is basically a piece of LEGO artwork. In recent years though, LEGO hasn't been making as many DC sets, which is definitely a little disappointing, especially for the die-hard DC Comics fans. Who knows though, maybe soon enough LEGO will make a comeback with the DC theme and release a ton of super sick sets. Moving on from that though, I want to talk about a LEGO set under the Disney theme. Now, I know there's a lot to cover here, but this set in particular is super special. This is the Steamboat Willie set, and the craziest part about this set is that it wasn't even LEGO's idea. Now, you might be wondering, what the heck are you talking about, Minifigured? Well, LEGO actually has a forum called LEGO Ideas. This is a place where fans can submit their own ideas for a LEGO set that they want to see LEGO release. If the idea gets 10,000 supporters in the forum, then LEGO reviews it and decides that they actually want to manufacture it. This is exactly what happened with the Steamboat Willie set, and it was actually able to pass the review, which not many sets do. But since Steamboat Willie is literally the first cartoon with Mickey Mouse in it, there was no way LEGO could deny it. I mean, that cartoon is such an important piece of history. The funny thing about this though is that LEGO actually just released another set for a historical Disney animation. This is the Snow White set, and in case you're wondering why I'm calling Snow White historical, well, it's because Snow White was actually the first feature-length animated film ever made by Disney. After this, they went on to make all of the movies that we all know and love, but it all started with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Considering how significant this movie is, it's kind of crazy that LEGO took this long to make a set for it. But regardless, it's good that they did, because now you can have Disney's most important creations in LEGO form. That is, if you're willing to pay the price. Unfortunately, the Steamboat Willie set is long retired, so you'll have to buy it on the aftermarket for around $115. And the Snow White set? Well, since it's brand new, it's on the LEGO website and most likely in stores as well. But the price tag is a little hefty, coming in at $220. I guess this is nothing new though. We all know LEGO's gotten crazy expensive these last few years. Moving on from that though, this next theme might surprise you, but I promise you it's 100% real. Did you know that LEGO actually had a Ben 10 theme back in the day? Well, before making this video, I certainly didn't, so it definitely took me by surprise. The theme got 6 sets all the way back in 2010, all of which were some of the most popular transformations in the show. Back in 2010, Ben 10 was super popular, so to be honest, I'm pretty surprised LEGO never did anything more for this theme. Since these original 6 sets, nothing else was ever released for Ben 10, which I have to say is a real shame. I mean, a Ben 10 minifigure would be sick, and imagine a wearable LEGO Omnitrix. That would have been way cooler. Unfortunately, I think my dreams died back in 2010. There is no way this theme is ever coming back. But the sets for this next movie definitely didn't disappoint. I'm talking about none other than the LEGO Movie. Of course, this is a movie we all love. It's some of the best animation in LEGO history. And I mean, come on, it's the LEGO Movie. Do I really need to say anything more? To my surprise though, the sets for this theme were originally a little underwhelming. Most of them were promotional, and to be honest, I can hardly even call them sets. The only one I can confidently give that title to is actually the first set released under the theme, the LEGO Movie promotional set. It's a super cool set that just shows the main characters of the show sitting in a movie theater. After this though, it was mostly just minifigures. That is, until after the movie was actually released. The first real set for this theme is the Rescue Reinforcement set, and it's pretty obvious that this is a step up from the promotional set. From here, it only gets better, with sets like Benny's spaceship, Metalbeard Sea Cow, and of course, the double-decker couch. LEGO literally couldn't miss. Luckily for us, it stayed like this until they stopped releasing sets for the LEGO Movie. So even though it was a small theme, it was by far one of the coolest. When it comes to cool individual sets though, nothing is doing it quite like this one. It's based on one of the most famous movies of all time, which made over $470 $170 million at the box office all the way back in 1975. The movie I'm talking about is Jaws. The Lego set for this movie just released earlier this year, back in August. But wanna know something crazy? Just like the Steamboat Willie set, this one was also taken from Lego ideas. To be honest though, I'm pretty surprised Lego let this pass. Now, I'm not saying Jaws isn't worthy of a Lego set, but this movie came out all the way back in 1975. So it's just weird to me that Lego took so long to make a set for it. Regardless, this set is a little on the cheaper side, coming in at 150 bucks. Remember, I only said a little. It depicts the scene where the three main characters battle it out with the Great White on their boat. This is probably the best scene they could have chosen. I mean, it's super iconic. Literally everybody knows it. Moving on from that though, I want to talk about Toy Story. In my first video about popular TV shows and movies in Lego, I mentioned Toy Story, but I only really talked about Lotso. But what you might not know about the Lego Toy Story theme is that they actually made sets for not just one, but all 4 of the movies. For the first 3 movies, only 15 sets were released, and they were even dropped in the same year, 2010. After this, Lego took a 9-year hiatus from the Toy Story theme, but came back for the release of Toy Story 4 in 2019. For this movie, they released 6 sets, but since the movie itself didn't do very well, neither did the Lego sets. I have to say though, these sets in general are a little weird. The minifigures really throw it off. Like, Woody's head is just way too big. It would have been way better if Lego just converted Woody's face to Lego form like they usually do. As a matter of fact, this next segment is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. This is the Minifigures Disney 100 bag. Now that's what I'm talking about. All of these minifigs are clearly made by Lego, and they look super good. In terms of movies and TV, there are loads of cameos in this pack. There are characters from Big Hero 6, Lilo and Stitch, the classic Disney princess movies, and way more. In my opinion, this is what Lego is all about. Everybody loves minifigures, so it's super sick to see a bunch of our favorite characters in Lego form. Unfortunately though, this pack is retired, so if you want to have it, you'll have to poke around on the aftermarket. But needless to say, this is one of the coolest products in this video. I mean, so many people are here. Now, before I move on to the next segment, I realize I've been talking about a lot of movies, so I think it's time I show you some TV shows. This is the Lego Big Bang Theory set, which is of course based on the show The Big Bang Theory. It's one of the most popular TV shows of all time, having had 12 seasons on CBS from 2007 to 2019. The Lego set for this show was released back in 2015 and retired the next year in 2016. Since then, it's actually managed to gain a good amount of value. Back when it hit the shelves, it retailed for 60 bucks, and now it's worth right around 200. For a 484-piece Lego set, I'd say that's pretty good, but the set for this next show is honestly way cooler. This is the Lego Seinfeld set. See what I mean? This set is way cooler. Not only does it have almost 1,000 more pieces than the Big Bang Theory set, but you get to build the actual set of the show, with lights and scaffolding. This is one of the only Lego sets where you get to build the actual set of the show, which really does say something, because there are a ton of sets based on TV shows. It comes with 5 minifigures, all of which are super popular characters from the show, and Lego even added a stage for Jerry to do stand-up comedy. And of course, since this is Lego we're talking about, there are a ton of Easter eggs all over this set. Seinfeld is an absolute classic, so it's super cool to see that Lego made a set for it. But the movie this last set is based on is in the exact same boat. This is the Hocus Pocus set, based on one of the most popular Disney movies from back in the day. This movie is a little old, so some of you may not know just how popular this movie actually is. So let me put it into perspective for you. In 1993, when the movie aired, it grossed over $45 million, and shortly after, it became one of those movies that everyone had on DVD. Whether it was in school, at a sleepover, or just a regular Friday night, people were watching this movie everywhere. Getting back to the set though, it's based on the Sanderson sisters' house, where most of the movie takes place. Since it's so important in the movie, Lego was sure to make it nothing short of impressive. The house is super interactive. You can make pink smoke billow out of the chimney, and you can even move the entire roof of the house to see inside. Along with the house, Lego also included the entrance to the graveyard, where a ton of action takes place in the movie, and they even added the little cottage too. Overall, this set is packed to the brim with references, Easter eggs, and a ton of movie-accurate items. So if you're a fan of this movie, you should definitely pick up this set. A movie like this needs no introduction. We've all seen it before, and we all know how good it is.
The drop-off? They're going to the drop-off?
So isn't it crazy that Lego flat out rejected it? By the way, the reason I know these sets got rejected is because they all got submitted to Lego Ideas, got 10,000 supporters, reviewed by Lego, and got rejected. Just in case you didn't know. But anyways, this rejection really makes me scratch my head. This is by far one of the best movies on Pixar's resume, and Lego's already made sets for a ton of different Pixar movies, like Up, Inside Out, and so many others. Oh, by the way, did you know that Lego actually rejected an Up set multiple times before they released their own? I made a video talking about about sets that got rejected then released not too long ago, but I actually missed that same thing happened with the Up House. 3 different versions of the house were submitted and rejected on LEGO Ideas. One in 2021, one in 2022, and one in 2023. The worst part about this is that the official Up House was released in April of 2023, but because of how long it took the most recent fan-made version to get 10,000 supporters, it didn't get reviewed until May of 2023. If I was that person, I'd feel like I have the worst luck in the world, but not as unlucky as you if you don't subscribe to my channel in the next 3 seconds. Go, go, go! I hope you subscribed in 3 seconds, for your sake. But anyways, the next rejection I want to show you are some sets for LEGO Marvel that would have been crazy to have. The first one is this Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. bus set, and if you don't know Marvel like that, for some reason they called this plane a bus, just so you know. This idea was submitted all the way back in 2014, and didn't get 10,000 supporters for 2 whole years. But when it did, people in the comments were super excited to see the verdict. The creator uploaded 61 pictures of their creation, so we quite literally saw everything the set had to offer. From play features to the inside of the bus on both sides, and even this insane armory. It was obvious that the builder worked really hard. Even after all of this hard work though, it still got rejected. And if we know anything about LEGO's review process, we know that hard work won't get your set on the shelves. Because if it did, this Avengers helicarrier would have made it there for sure. This idea was submitted back in 2014 as well, but the amount of effort the builder put into making this set is unreal. They said that after they saw the first Avengers movie, they thought the helicarrier would make a super sick LEGO set. So they did their best to remake it out of bricks on their computer. The result was absolutely huge, using more than 20,000 pieces and measuring it over 7 feet long and almost 4 feet wide. Clearly this set was a beast. After about 10 days, the builder was worried this would hurt the chances of their set making it onto the shelves, so they started redesigning it to scale it down. After about 2 months, the redesign was complete, and instead of a 20,000 piece monster, the set was now a 6,600 piece mini monster. Unfortunately, this didn't help as much as it should have, because the set still got rejected less than a year after it was finished. This was definitely a huge miss on LEGO's part, but one of the biggest ones by far is the fact that they rejected a Monsters Inc. set. Just like Finding Nemo, we all know how good this movie is, and the fact that it isn't already in LEGO's arsenal is honestly just bad for business. But the person that made this set was way ahead of the curve. They submitted it back in 2021, and it did take them a while to get 10,000 supporters, almost 2 whole years. Now listen, I know this set doesn't look particularly great, but this is something LEGO could have easily helped with. An official Monsters Inc. set with a Mike Wazowski minifig and a Sully big fig would be generational. I mean, Sully's already in the LEGO Dimensions video game, so why not bring him to real life? All I know is that there are way more movies LEGO can make sets for, and another big gap in their resume is the fact that they rejected this Wreck-It Ralph set. Even though Wreck-It Ralph wasn't made during the golden age of Disney movies, it's still a really good movie, and the main building is quite literally perfect for a LEGO set. The idea was submitted back in 2022, and the builder's goal was to make it so the set looked like the video game that we saw in the movie. The video game is pretty close to the OG Donkey Kong game, so maybe LEGO was scared of Nintendo's legal team. But other than that, I really can't think of any other reason to reject this set. Maybe it's because they've never made an official minifigure for the movie. But the situation with the LEGO Power Rangers is one of the weirdest things I've seen in LEGO. Technically speaking, LEGO actually has released a Power Rangers minifigure called the Super Warrior. He came in the Minifigure Series 20 bag, but this is quite literally the only thing LEGO's ever made for the Rangers, if you can even count it. It's pretty obvious that this is the Red Ranger, but for some reason, LEGO named him like how a custom website names their minifigures so they don't get caught by LEGO. Now, I don't know why LEGO themselves did this, but the fact that they rejected this set based on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the first Power Rangers show ever, might give us the answer. Obviously, enough people wanted it because it got reviewed, but even back in 2016 when the idea was submitted, it only took 1 month for it to get 10,000 supporters. Hold on a minute though. This set was rejected in 2017, and we didn't get that so-called Red Ranger minifigure until 2020. So what's going on here? I guess this is just another case of LEGO rejecting something, then releasing it. But this one in particular is super strange. Anyways, the next TV show I want to show you technically never got rejected, but because of what the show is, there's no way LEGO would make a set for it. That show is Squid Game, and I think it's pretty obvious why LEGO would reject a set for this show. It's truly a shame though, because not only are there a bunch of videos on YouTube of people making Squid Game out of LEGO, but there are even more customs you can find online with just one Google search. It's obvious that if LEGO actually did decide to make it, a set based on Squid Game would probably be one of their best sellers. But unfortunately, I really don't ever see that happen. Another franchise with this curse is Studio Ghibli. You seriously won't believe how many sets LEGO's rejected from them. All in all, LEGO's rejected 5 sets based on movies animated by Studio Ghibli. One of them was a set just based on the most popular Ghibli movies, but 2 others were specifically for Spirited Away, and the last 2 were for My Neighbor Totoro. But these are just the sets LEGO's had to reject. There are way more Studio Ghibli sets sitting on LEGO ideas. They just haven't been rejected because they don't have 10,000 supporters. It's super obvious that the fans want this, but LEGO hasn't made a set for a single anime yet. Although there is that Pokemon collab coming up soon, so maybe there's hope for all the Ghibli fans out there. And that means there might also be hope for all the Yu-Gi-Oh fans too. Back in 2021, someone submitted a set based on the cards instead of the show. The Dark Magician and the Blue Eyes White Dragon are 2 of the most popular cards in the game, so it made sense to throw them in the set. In all honesty though, it probably would have done a lot better if the builder made it based on the show instead. Everyone wants to see the main character, Yugi, made into a minifigure. I mean, he's basically all you'll find if you look for custom Yu-Gi-Oh minifigures online. Now, I don't think that's why LEGO rejected the set, but it probably would have gotten 10,000 supporters a lot faster than the 3 years it took for this idea. Who knows though, maybe now that there's a Pokemon collab, there's hope for Yu-Gi-Oh too. Up next is a super sick set based on another classic Disney movie, Aladdin. Most of the rejected sets I've shown you in this video have just been cool looking, but this one is actually super interactive and has a bunch of different play features. First of all, the platform that the minifigures stand on can rotate around. Second of all, the genie can be moved in a ton of different ways. Not only can his mouth move, but his hands can move too. But by far the coolest part about this set are the studs on the genie's hands. With these, you can put minifigures on there and make it look like the genie is holding them up to talk to them, which is super sick. As much as I hate to say it, of course, this set got rejected, but I really hope LEGO changes their mind on this one someday. I mean, all the other Aladdin sets we have are nowhere near as good as this. The same thing goes for this Scooby-Doo Haunted Mansion set too. Like, LEGO's literally never made something as good as this for Scooby-Doo. This idea was actually posted pretty recently, in January of 2024, but it took a couple months for it to reach 10,000 supporters. Obviously, we know it got rejected, but look at how much effort the builder put into the details of this set. There are the eyes in the window to the basement, the nano figures at the top of the house, and there's even a little skull hidden under the house too. I don't know Scooby-Doo that well, but I'm sure this set is packed full of Easter eggs and references too. Funnily enough though, this actually isn't the only rejected Scooby-Doo LEGO set. They also rejected this mystery machine. I gotta be honest here though, I kinda side with LEGO for this rejection. This idea was uploaded in 2020, but LEGO themselves already released a mystery machine way back in 2015, so there wasn't really any reason for them to accept this idea 5 years later. As cool as more Scooby-Doo sets would be, we don't need more duplicates. We need something new like this Haunted Mansion. Another movie that seriously needs this treatment is E.T. The only thing LEGO's ever made for this movie is a little fun pack in the LEGO Dimensions theme. And considering how good this movie is, it's safe to say that the rejected idea definitely should have made it to the shelves. LEGO hardly ever makes sets that look like posters or pieces of art, but when they do, they're always a huge success. There's the World Map set, the Starry Night, and of course the Mona Lisa. Now, I'm not saying that E.T. is as influential as these paintings, but clearly people like it when LEGO releases sets that are specifically made for decorating. I mean, I can't even think of how many movie posters I'd want to make out of LEGO and hang on my wall. There are genuinely so many. But for other movies, I'd want to build the character way more. And if this Godzilla set didn't get rejected, we would have all been able to build one of the coolest monsters in movie history. This idea was submitted back in 2021, and even though it isn't very colorful, it just makes the atomic heat beam stand out that much more. And look at how big this set is. It's just as big as the Bowser set from Mario. And when he stands on top of the Titanic, he looks like he was made to scale to minifigure size. All I know is that this set never should have been rejected. But fans actually want LEGO to make a different character way more than Godzilla, the Iron Giant. This set's been rejected 4 separate times over the years. once in 2018, again in 2020, again in 2023, and one last time in 2025. But if that tells us anything, it's that LEGO fans clearly want an Iron Giant set to come out. The two most recent ones were even submitted by the same person, so if anything, the people want this Iron Giant in the Forest set. Like I said in the beginning of the video, these rejections are a bunch of missed opportunities, but one of the biggest ones by far is the fact that LEGO rejected this Brooklyn Nine-Nine set 3 times. This show is on par with The Office for how popular it is. I mean, it started back in 2013 and has 8 seasons now, so it's been going for a super long time. All 3 rejections are a LEGO version of the exact same thing, The Office, where a lot of the show takes place. It's the main building in the show, just like The Office in The Office. So if LEGO can make a set for that show, they can definitely make one for Brooklyn Nine-Nine. There's still hope though, because before LEGO released a set for The Office, it had to get rejected 4 separate times first. I've talked about this in a different video before, so all I want to point out is that The Office had 4 rejections and then got released, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine is up to 3 rejections. So maybe they only need 1 more to prove to LEGO that they're worthy of being on the shelves. But I guess if that's true, then the Iron Giant would end up there too. Whatever. I'm sure one day LEGO will realize how much money they're leaving on the table and give the people what they want.